Working. Okay, we need to get the chat screen up. Okay, chat screen is up. And there's Kathy. All right, first one in the door. How are you doing today? And the rest of the family. You know, every now and then, stupid shit pops into my head. And I was thinking about how sad it was that the softball season ended so abruptly. That was just pure bullshit. I'll tell you what. I stuck my head in that glove box with a flashlight. I looked everywhere in the trunk. I even pulled the radio out. No luck. And the radio is dead. The radio is dead. Because reading through the manual, when you lock the doors, there's a little red blinking light on the driver's door by the pull knob, and then the radio is supposed to blink red also. Even if it isn't programmed, to show that the security is working. So the radio is kaput. So I think I found, and I have to research a little more, an aftermarket radio that will play the CD player. I have to do a little more research, but it said CD adaptable. So it's basically, you have to order a special aftermarket harness to plug into the aftermarket radio to connect to the factory harness. So I might be able to salvage that CD player yet, but the radio is which I kind of thought, but I was hoping I was wrong. And the neat thing about this aftermarket radio, it has a hideaway touchscreen. The touchscreen literally motors up. And then when you shut the radio off, the screen motors back down and disappears. So you can technically convert this to like a newer car with the fancy touchscreen. Although we got to get it running first before we start adding accessories. I mean, even if I can't get the CD player, the factory one, operating, I showed you guys before. I have a portable cassette and a portable CD player that I can always plug into the aux plug, and I could play cassettes or CDs. Either way, yeah, you gotta have music. I'll tell you, Kathy, that was the one of the worst things about driving limousine. When you had a customer, you could not turn on the radio, not unless they requested. Otherwise, and sometime I was taking a guy from Cleveland to fucking Cincinnati, and 9 times out of 10, he's fucking snoozing in the back seat, and I can't play a radio. So the fuel pump is on its way. I should have the fuel pump possibly Thursday, Friday. I've already got everything opened up so that when the fuel pump gets here, I can extract the old one, drop the new one in. Although, I'll tell you what, Volkswagen, they did it smart. Usually, when you change a fuel pump, the sending unit is with it. And your gas gauge is never right after that. Volkswagen, the sending unit is separate and apart from the pump. You never touch it. Because like in the truck, in the Nissan, when I changed the fuel pump, when I turned the key on, I had a full tank and it kept going up and up and up and up. So I have to remember, when I get to half a tank, it's actually a quarter. Yeah, Grumpy has hiked down the road with a gas can already. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was reading the manual today, the Chilton's, and the sending unit, you don't touch it, which is great because there's nothing worse than having a fucked up gas gauge. And another nice thing is, on American cars, you gotta drop the goddamn gas tanks in order to change fuel pumps. I don't know why the American manufacturers don't follow the foreign car, because the Toyota, there was an access panel behind the seat. On the Passat, there's an access panel. You fold the seat down, you flip the carpeting up, you take the lid off, and there it is. The only goofy thing is, and when the fuel pump gets here, I'll show you, it's a modular unit, and it drops into a holder. In order to get the fuel pump out, you have to turn the whole modular unit like a quarter turn. I got 3/4 of a tank of gas. So I'm going to have to figure out how to turn that fuel pump to get it out without getting a handful of gasoline. Gee, I wonder where the Ron Bowl is. I hope everybody shows up tonight. I have a little bit of an announcement to make. Not to mention, oh jeez, I watched a little bit of a clip from the news conference in the Oval Office. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Have you seen any news clips from the Oval Office? I mean, Christ, Trump's in the news every goddamn day, but yeah, I'm going to have rain tomorrow and Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to be in the high 70s and sunny. So luckily the weather so far is cooperating. Then I talked to Marianne today. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh. You know, I mentioned before, I love her to death, but she can go off on a tangent. You know, she's into all this natural, holistic healing, you know. Wait until you hear this story. That's why I'm hoping everybody shows up. I did everything I could not to laugh. I just, and when she starts talking, you can't get away from her. And I really wanted to get away from her so I could belly laugh myself. I could not believe what she was telling me. I just could not believe it. But knowing Marianne, it was all true. We'll leave you in suspense because it's hilarious. Well, Runbo's here. Let's get started here. Broadcasting live from station WDWL TV, Studio 1. Corporate offices located on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard, and my two personal studios so far are located on the Grumpy Old Man Road. And for you first timers, that's me. And introducing the Grumpy Jackalope. All right, asshole, and the Grumpy Vulture, take your bow. Jesus. No more spotlight. We're saving power. That's it. Goodbye. So, I'm talking to Marianne, and she tells me when she opened the back doors to the van, because she's got a big transit van, was her boyfriend's until he passed away. Hornets had built a nest along the edge of the one door. So she gently closed the doors back because she didn't want to get her ass stung. She goes up to the hardware store and she buys hornet spray. The guy at the hardware store told her, you want to do this when it's dark because they're sleeping. Well, I've destroyed hornets' nests at night and they're not all sleeping. That's why they have guards. So, she waits until it gets dark, and she slowly opens the doors on the back of the van. And there's a couple of hornets crawling. So she takes the spray and she goes, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." She was apologizing to the hornets for spraying them with hornet killer. And she said it was breaking her heart. I looked at her and I went, "What?" I, you know, I didn't want to really kill them. So as I sprayed them, I was apologizing. Kathy, it took all of my will not to bust the fucking laughing in her face. You're spraying hornets. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't believe she was telling me that. Then the next morning when she was sweeping up the dead hornets and she destroyed the nest, she was apologizing again. "Oh, I'm so sorry. Took all this time to build this mud nest. Oh." I was like, "Oh, Jesus." But that's my Marianne. I would have loved to have gotten that on secret video. It would have gone viral. I'd have probably had 1,000,000 views. Here's this older lady apologizing to hornets as she's killing them. And she was making sure to show me, "I'm sorry." She'd back up, then she'd go forward. "I'm sorry." It would have made a great video. Oh, it would have made. But that's you gotta know Marianne. I really don't understand how Mike put up with. Well, I kind of understand because they lived apart until they moved to Georgia. And then they both realized it was a mistake. Not to mention, Mike loved a good tomahawk steak. Marianne likes a good salad. That was a real combination. A big beefy meat eater and a vegetarian. Well, I'm glad to hear you started a new job. You don't have to apologize for missing. Just every now and then pop in and go, "Hey, I'm here. I'm alive. See ya." Glad to hear you got a new job. Was it a step up? Better hours, better pay, better benefits? Yeah, old Nomad working himself to the bone. He hasn't been around. Although the last time I emailed him, he said he was really busy. Better. Glad to hear it, Mears. Good for you. Always like to hear when people upgrade and things are better than what they had. Glad to hear it, buddy. Wish you a lot of luck at the new job. I haven't worked so long I wouldn't know what a job was. God, it's hard to believe 21 years. I had to go out on disability in '04. Well, in today's job market, there is no way I could survive. There is no way. With all the new rules and regulations and all the bullshit, you know, you can't tell a girl she looks nice because it's sexual harassment. Me, I wouldn't last. I wouldn't last a fucking hour. I wouldn't make it through orientation. I come from, back in the day where you could hug girls and they appreciated it. You could tell them they looked nice and they appreciated it. Now, if you even put your finger on it, you go to HR. All I did was put my finger on. That's sexual harassment. You're touching. I would never last in today's world. Oh, no way. No way. Back in the 70s when I was working for the county, God, a girl got pissed off if you didn't hug her in the morning. God, I remember, oh gee, what was her name? Marguerite. She was a little Puerto Rican girl. A little cutie. And in the morning, I would walk around, give the girls a hug. And I don't know why I didn't hug her. And she comes up to me and she goes, "Did I offend you somehow?" I was like, "No, why?" "Well, you hugged everybody else." "Okay, come here." Not in today's, oh, no. God, you spend too much time looking at a coworker. Down to HR. You were looking. Yeah, but I wasn't focusing. I was kind of looking in her direction. Don't make any difference. You were looking. Not allowed to look. Okay. Go down to HR. It's like going down to a German gulag. Assume position. I probably wouldn't make it through the interview process. Not the way it is today. Takes the fun out of working. Not to mention, back in the day, you could make kind of sexual innuendo comments and the girls didn't get offended because they made them right back. We could smoke at our desks. If you wanted to have a beer at lunchtime with your lunch, you could have a beer. God, I remember one of the older women. Her name was Marge Skunsk. 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 That woman, oh my God, she could make a truck driver blush. Oh, God, did she have a mouth on her? And she didn't care what she said. It made for an interesting workplace. Hey, Ronbo, have you watched any of the news clips from the Oval Office? Oh, I mean, Trump's in the news every single day, but oh, Kathy, we could tell dirty jokes and the women didn't get offended because, especially Marge, you tell a dirty joke, she had one even better. Even the bosses would get in on the dirty joke telling. You know, I had seen a video, and it was any news clips from the Oval Office. There was a video, and the guy was giving a tour of Trump's private jet. This goddamn jet has got to have $2 million easy of gold in it. Maybe even more. I see this news clip of the Oval Office. Holy shit! I think he took all the gold from Fort Knox, had it melted down, and made wall plaques. And God, there's an end table that's a big golden eagle holding up the lamp, and gold here, gold there, gold here, gold there, cherubs and angels, and Jesus Christ! I have never seen so much gold in one place as I seen in the Oval Office. He is obsessed with gold. And next time there's a news clip, pay attention. I have never seen that much gold in one place. I mean, over the doors are golden cherubs, and over the fireplace is a big golden eagle, and then there's a gold eagle holding up the lamp on an end table, and gold here, and gold there, and gold here, and gold. I really do. I think he ordered all the gold from Fort Knox, melted down, and made into cherubs and lamps and wall hangings. And Jesus Christ! And we wonder where all our money, tax dollars, are going. It's for him to adorn the Oval Office, and anywhere he could put gold, it's there. I could not believe what I was seeing. And he was pointing it out to the one reporter. Oh, look, those are golden angels up along the ceiling, and golden cherubs above the doors. And he was proud of it. Because the the reporter was like, gee, I've never seen this much gold in the Oval Office. And he was like, well, I had to make it feel, you know, presentable. Presentable? Next time there is a news clip from the Oval Office, pay attention. You will not believe the waste of government money in gold. I was shocked. I could not believe there's so much gold in that place. He doesn't have any room to put any more. Yeah, he was pointing out the angels up along the ceiling and the cherubs above the door and I wanted the Oval Office to look presentable. And then we're spending what, $20 million to build a new ballroom? There was nothing wrong with the old one. And then he took Jackie Kennedy's cherished rose garden and paved it. That's what the rose garden was known for. The beautiful grass. Now, he did leave the roses. But that manicured lawn, he had it all dug up and poured concrete. Kathy, you'll be shocked. He doesn't think it's gaudy at all. It is the ugliest looking golden mess I have ever seen. It's disgusting. I thought his plane was disgusting. Holy shit. I can almost imagine when the new Air Force One arrives, what his private office is going to look like in Air Force One. I'm surprised he doesn't have a golden bathtub. Kathy, it's disgusting. It's literally disgusting to see how he destroyed the Oval Office. Because he's got to have gold, 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 gold. Then it happened a while ago. I just came across the news story about, I don't know if the guy lived in San Francisco or this guy who was a legal American that got deported to El Salvador because Trump thought he was a member of MS-13. And there was this big uproar, and the president of El Salvador was in the Oval Office, and one of the reporters said, well, gee, if they shipped him there by accident, can't you send him back? And And the president of El Salvador went, well, no, he's one of our prisoners now. The guy's an American. If Trump thinks you're an illegal alien, you're gone. No trials, nothing. Just get on the plane. That's it. See ya. And did you hear the news? Jimmy Kimmel will be back on the air tonight. Disney caved in to all the uproar because TV stars and movie stars and music stars were telling everyone, cancel your subscription to Disney Plus and Hulu. And they were like, whoa. I'm gonna tune in, but I don't know if my local affiliate is owned by Sinclair, because Sinclair Broadcasting owns a big chunk of the ABC affiliates. And Sinclair refuses to air Kimmel. So even though he's coming back, there are a lot of stations across the nation that won't be carrying him because Sinclair said he didn't apologize, he didn't make a donation to Kirk's organization. We're not going to carry him. Which will be interesting to see if Sinclair caves in and does carry him, because they want this big merger to go through. And if too many people, get pissed off at Sinclair Broadcasting, well, there goes your big merger. But I love it that Disney caved in. They were like, okay, we'll put you back, okay. He'll probably be censored like shit, though. All right, for the official announcement. Starting next week, we are only going to run for an hour. This way, it gives everybody the chance to catch Hill Street Pirates and Todd and Kfar or whoever they want to watch, because most of them start 8 o'clock and people want to be there for the start of their show. So, starting Monday, we're only going to run for an hour. 7 to 8. That way anybody that wants to bail, they won't be missing the beginning of somebody else's broadcast. Because kind of picked up on a few things yesterday. So I will cave into the crowd and make way after 8 o'clock for anybody to go wherever they want to go. I'm not going to hold anybody back from enjoying the start because it's like a movie. God, you miss the first 10, 15 minutes, you don't know what's going on. But I kind of picked up on a few things yesterday and I was like, okay. Because a lot of the more followed stations start at 8 o'clock. And since I'm not the more followed, I will bow to the masses. I forgot I had that brush. Well, I can clean things up. Isn't my sign on? Oh, I forgot to turn the sign on. There it is. You can't even tell the damn thing's on. Come on, change color. Come on, change color. There. I don't know how I forgot to turn that on. That's usually the first thing I turn on. It's too bad you can't see it change color. Now, you can see it get a little brighter, but it goes through a whole rainbow of colors. It really looks great. I don't know why my camera didn't pick up or doesn't pick up on the colors. Because it's a beautiful sign. It really is. With all the color changes. But the camera just doesn't pick them up. See, like now it's yellow and green. Now it's solid green. Now it's multicolored. Now it's orange. Slowly turning to red and green. Yeah, it goes through a whole rainbow of color. I'm going to have to try, as much as I hate screwing around, a different camera and see if it'll pick the color change up. That was a gift from my buddy, the one that passed away. I had one day I'll dig it out, a really crappy on-air sign. And he says, you need a better sign. And one day when I was over having coffee, he said, look what I got for you. And I think of him a lot when I look at it. And it's just a shame that it doesn't pick up the coloring. Yeah, Kathy, I'm going to try. I have four other cameras. And I hate to screw around because this Logitech is focused perfect. I want to see if one of my other cameras will pick up the color change, because you would really love to see it. Just keeps going. Like I say, it goes through a rainbow of colors. And these Logitechs aren't cheap, but it don't pick them up. Since it's going to be raining tomorrow, I think that's what I'll do. I'll look for the other cameras and I'll experiment with them. Although, Kathy, tomorrow's going to be fun. I get to see, I call her Dr. Tai Chi. The rehab doctor that my oncologist wants me to see. Because she's going to show me how to do exercises and think my pain away. Like I told his nurse, I'll go to one appointment. Then it's bad enough I gotta be there for an hour yet. Oh, God. Yeah, she's gonna show me oriental exercises that are gonna help me think my pain away. Yeah, 4 o'clock tomorrow. Dr. Tai Chi. What's not her name? That's what I call her. Should be interesting. Here, put your ankle behind your neck. I couldn't do that 40 years ago, let alone now. Get in a lotus position. If I get in the lotus position, you're going to need to call an ambulance. Yeah, that's tomorrow, Kathy. I can see me in the emergency room with both ankles stuck behind my head. How did you get in that position? I don't know, but I can't get out of it. I'll look like a fucking turtle. Help me! I'll be in the emergency room and they'll be calling all the other doctors. Look at this asshole. Look. Never mind look and get my ankles out from behind my neck. Yeah. Exercises to help me think my pain away. If it was that easy, I wouldn't need medication. I gargled some of these Tai Chi Oriental pain relieving exercises. Ain't happening. Sounds like a mixture of yoga and Chinese water torture, you know. Yeah, get in a lotus position and now think your pain away. Well, Doc, I could do that if I wasn't in the lotus position. I agreed to one appointment. At first, I was like, nope, 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 nope. And his nurse said, Doc would like you to do at least one appointment. Okay, one. And to make it even better, because first of all, I said, I'm not driving down to the main because it costs so much fucking money to park. I get a call back. We will waive your parking fee. I thought about it and I said, wait. I will call the van service to pick me up. That way you're using your vehicle, your gasoline, and I ride for free. Yeah, you had to order it 48 hours in advance. Yesterday, 8 o'clock. I need the van for Wednesday. My appointment, I have to be there at 3:50. And I know the van driver's going to bitch because by the time I get out of there, he's probably going to be on overtime. Why should I use my gasoline and my vehicle? I hate driving down to the main anyway since they built that Taj Mahal of a new hospital. Although Dr. Tai Chi is in the cancer center, which is a different building altogether. So I'll have some interesting comments tomorrow after I get home. If I'm not wrapped up like a mummy with a bunch of broken bones. $7:45, holy shit. You're going to have to get up at 6 a.m. Although I don't know how long it takes you to get to your doctor. Now that's just the pre-surgical exam, right? They're going to look at your eyes, figure out what they got to do. Matter of fact, Kathy, I walked down the street today and I talked to my neighbor's wife because she just had the second eye done about a week ago. And I asked her because she was one of these, oh God. I said, how was the surgery? She said, piece of cake. I said, did your doctor talk to you? She said, oh yeah, the whole surgery. She was so against it. It was like, but she had some nasty Cadillacs. And she said it's amazing how well, so far, she can see out of her left eye. I said, wait until the right eye is fully healed. I kept telling her, you're hearing the horror stories of 25 years ago. I said, Christ, they don't even put you under. You're in that la la land. So she was very happy to have it finally over with, but she said, I couldn't believe it. She goes, I'm laying there, the doctor's talking to me, the nurse is talking to me. I said, I told you. As a matter of fact, my eye surgeon's partner operated on her. Yeah, you'll probably be there about a good hour, Kathy, if not longer. I'm trying to think. My pre-op exam was, oh God, it was about an hour and a half. I was there about an hour and a half. No, 2 hours. Because since I drove, I had to wait until my eyes, because they dilated the eyes. And then they gave me them goofy frickin' sunglasses that make you look like you should have a white cane with a red tip. I would have been able to go home earlier, but I drove. I don't like infringing on people. I like to be independent. Good. Because that way, if they dilate, once the exam is done, you won't have to sit and wait like I did for my eyes to kind of come back to normal. Then they gave me them big, goofy sunglasses. I even asked the nurse, I said, do I get a white cane with a red tip? She just kind of looked at me like, what? Never mind. Joke went over your head. Matter of fact, next month, I think the middle of next month, I have my annual eye exam. Because if there's anything that needs to be done, I want it well out of the way before next year, November. Because that's when I have to renew my driver's license. Although I'm pretty sure they're going to laser this right eye. Because I'm having a little scar tissue problem around the implant. And then, like my, she told me, she goes, well, like 1 out of 500 people have this scar tissue problem. I was like, oh, that's my luck. I couldn't be 499 or 501, but it's not bad yet. I mean, I can tell when I do this, but she told me quick zap with a laser and all fixed. Because then what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask her if I can have an appointment for like August or maybe September. Because on the chance that I may have to get like bicycle focals again, I want to be well adjusted to the damn things before I take my eye test for the driver's license. Because I'll tell you what, that was scary when I almost flunked it. Although I hadn't realized how fucking blind I was until I had the eyes fixed. Oh, my store. You'll never get what get. You'll never guess what they got in, and it was mainly by me requesting it. Caraway seed sauerkraut. I couldn't believe it. I went over to the sauerkraut section and I was like, oh, what's this? Sauerkraut with caraway seeds. So before I checked out, I looked around and I found the one assistant manager. And I said, thank you. He said, well, you're not the only person to ask for it. So he said, we made some room on the shelf. So I got some hot Slovenian sausage, those nice links that I buy, and I'm going to put some in the crock pot. I can't wait. I'm actually excited. Although, you know what's interesting? On the can, it says Bavarian sweet. And I was like, sweet sauerkraut? And then underneath it says, with caraway seeds. So I'm hoping it's regular sauerkraut with caraway seeds and not sugared sauerkraut. That's almost as bad as my buddy's wife. When she makes anything with sauerkraut, she puts it in a colander and rinses the shit out of it. I was like, now all you have is fermented shredded cabbage. Sauerkraut's supposed to be sour. Yeah, she actually rinses sauerkraut. And then squeezes it out. I'm like, all you have is shredded cabbage now. Yeah, I couldn't believe it the one day I was over there. And she couldn't open the jar, and she give it to her husband, my buddy. I was like, oh, sauerkraut. And the next thing I know, she's getting a colander, emptying the jar, rinsing it and squeezing it. And I said, what are you doing? She goes, it's too sour. I said, now, it don't taste like sauerkraut. I have never seen that in my life. A lot of times, I'll buy a can of Frank's kraut juice, and I'll put the sauerkraut in the crock pot and like with the sauce, and then I'll add the kraut juice to make it even more sour. Sauerkraut's supposed to be sour. Not to mention it gives the sausage a wonderful taste. Yeah, rinsing sauerkraut and then wringing it out. She poured it out of the colander onto a towel and then I was like, what are you doing? And my buddy he just sat there, shook his head, and like, oh. He says to him, I says, one day when I make something with sauerkraut, you want to come over and have real sauerkraut? He looked at her. He went, no. Then when she left the room, he went, yes. Although she kind of runs the roost. He's one of these, yes, dear. No, dear. Yes, you're right, dear. I'd like to. What did I watch last night? Oh, there was some National Geographic African programs on. I love watching African stuff. And they're showing this 10-foot long fucking cobra. Nasty looking bastard. He rears up, you know. And out of the bush comes this little dinky mongoose. Looked like a kitten. I thought badgers were nasty. Holy shit. This mongoose was attacking the shit out of this cobra. He kept biting it on the tail, and when the cobra would turn, he tried to get it behind the head. And of course, the cobra, I think, knew what was going on. And he kept biting that cobra on the and then the cobra turned and spit at him. He finally killed the son of a bitch. I couldn't believe it. That little mongoose was brutal. And I thought honey badgers were nasty. This little thing killed that 10-foot long fucking cobra. And it's amazing how fucking quick their reflexes are. That cobra would strike, and I thought for sure many times he got bit. And they jump out of the way. Their reflexes got to be faster than a badger. I was amazed. I was like, holy shit. I know Ron made the comment when I was talking about badgers. It would be neat to see a standoff between a badger and a mongoose. Who would win? Because that cobra, it come up like 3 foot off the ground and was spitting at him. He'd run around, bite it on the tail, and the cobra, and then he'd come around and try to bite it on the back of the head. And then he finally got it. Oh, 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 oh. And then shook the shit out of it. And then when he killed it, all of the family came out. There must have been 20 mongoose that come out of nowhere. Dinner time. He looked that he couldn't have been more than a pound, maybe a pound and a half. Little spindly thing. No fear whatsoever. I was amazed. That's why I love watching anything that's filmed over in Africa. Although it was kind of sad watching the migration when they had to cross the fucking river. And the goddamn alligators are like, oh, 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 dinner time. And the water buffalo are going across, and the zebras are going across. And I just knew. I was like, oh no, the baby zebra. Sure enough, chomp. Then you saw the alligator, crocodile, crocagator doing the old death spiral. And then, mommy zebra is like, do I stop? Do I keep going? And then a goddamn crocodile bit mommy zebra in the ass. And she got up on shore, and her ass was bleeding, but she was okay. But unfortunately, Junior didn't make it. There must have been, there must have been 30 crocodilators. They were all feasting well because they got some of them big, big water buffaloes. Matter of fact, the one was swimming, and next thing you know, all you saw was jaws come up around its neck. See ya. They all get to shore and where's Charlie? Charlie was right behind me. Oh, we know where Charlie went. But it's amazing. There must have been, between the water buffalo and the zebra, there had to be 10,000 animals. It's amazing to watch when they move from one part of Africa to the other. It's just one big migration all at once until they get to the water. Uh-oh. You go first. No, you go first. No, you go first. And it was interesting because the first zebra in the water made it across. And all the zebra that were standing on the other side went, oh, okay, it's safe to go. Not. They all started in the water, and the old crocodilators come out of nowhere. And then, later on, a lion decided to take on a water buffalo. Holy shit. They ganged up on that. They beat the shit out of that lion. It got up and it started to limp away, and its fucking jaw was broke. It was hanging. And I like, you ain't gonna be eating no water buffalo tonight. Then it ended up going off into the weeds and taking a dirt nap. Them goddamn water buffalo threw that lion up in the air like it was a stuffed animal. although it was kind of funny, a couple of crocodilators decided they were going to irritate a hippopotamus. Wrong thing to do. Because the one crocodilator kept nudging up against it, like, hey, this is my river. And that hippopotamus just opened its mouth and went, oh. And next thing you know, you saw a limp crocodilator. I love nature programs. Oh, I love them. Although there is one nature program not to watch, well, two, not to watch before bedtime. A nature problem with venomous snakes, and the one that really kept me awake was the nature program with every variety of spider on Earth. Ugh. Oh, yeah, Kathy, they say that hippos kill at least like 25 people a year. They are nasty. Not to mention their teeth are about Christ, 10 inches long. But that hippo grabbed that alligator right around the head. That was it. Lights out. But the other night, I made the mistake of watching. Well, I love David Attenborough. I love the way he narrates. And he did a special on spiders. Man, there are some ugly looking fucking spiders in this world. Holy Christ. They were showing this spider. It lives over in Iran or Iraq. Goddamn fucking thing is huge. From leg tip to leg tip, it's like 18 inches. The spider's a... And then I like, the cameramen, they zoom in. And them spiders have like 40 eyes on their head. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I didn't get much sleep that night. I'd be laying there, and every time I felt something like, tarantula. Yeah, every time I felt something, it was like, a fly swatter in one hand and a can of Raid in the other. But I love the way David Attenborough narrates. Now I can see why the Queen knighted him, made him Sir David Attenborough. I'll tell you what, he put England on the map with all the safaris he took and all the narration that he does. The guy's amazing. He really keeps your interest going. I know, boring. I love nature programs, though. That's why I'm going to miss WVIZ. They're going to try to hold on with donations, but I don't see how they're going to run that station without federal money. It's so sad. Yeah, there's supposed to be a big fundraiser coming up, I think. But you know, that's the problem when you have like I love listening to NPR, you know, National Public Radio. And you know, they tell it like it is. And unfortunately, you know, Mr. Big Hair, he don't like anybody saying anything negative about him, so he just cut the government funding to all public stations like that. I'm going to have to tune the radio in and see if NPR is still hanging on. It'll be sad the day that WVIZ shuts the doors. That station has been around forever. God, I remember growing up, being a little kid watching WVIZ. Oh, sad. You know, with all the money we spent to put gold in the Oval Office, we could have still funded public radio and TV stations. You know, all the PBS stations are. WBIZ would need like some big rich millionaires to will their estate to them. They're going to try to hang on. Of course, like they said, you know, we're going to have to cut staff like crazy. All them people losing jobs. That'll be another station to disappear off the dial. Because when I used to go down Brook Park Road, I would drive past the station. You can't miss it. It's got that big satellite dish out in the parking lot. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to take a ride into Lakewood because there is a radio station down on Madison, close to 117th. I'm going to have to. They got to be a public radio. Either that or maybe an AM station. But they're right about 120th and Madison. I don't know what the call letters are. But I remember there, because you can't miss, there's a big, huge satellite dish in the parking lot too. And it's been there for years. And I never paid that much attention to it. I'll have to see what their call letters are and if they're an AM or FM station. Although it will be interesting when the 2026 cars come out. They're supposed to have AM radio again. Because the AM radio stations sued all the car manufacturers and said, hey, when you made these new radios, you didn't bother to put AM on them. All the new vehicles, no AM, FM only, or satellite. Gotta remember back in the day, that's all we had. 1950s, AM. Growing up with my little AM transistor radio. Powered by a 9-volt battery. I remember almost every kid in the neighborhood had a little AM radio that they carry around. They had one little earbud. Used to listen to CKLW out of Canada because CKLW played some neat rock and roll. I remember they used CKLW, 1,000 watts of air power. Back in the day, that was a big station. And a lot of people didn't realize it was out of Canada. And then there was a Detroit station. Oh, God, I can't remember the call letters. I remember they were at Gratian and 8.5 Mile Road in Detroit. Detroit's got those weird streets. 8 Mile Road, 8.5 Mile Road, 9 Mile Road, 9.5 Mile Road. Yeah, the station was at the corner of Gratian. Grashon, I think it was Gratian and 8.5 Mile Road. And Detroit still does the cruise. They still do the big Detroit cruise. I always wanted to go up to the Henry Ford Museum, and I never did. Kind of too late now. Unless I can get the Passat in tip-top shape. It really looks good since I gave it a bath. God, was that car filthy. Holy shit. Not to mention all the dog hair in the interior. Jesus. Do it run? No. Do it shine? Yes. I think over the weekend I'll buff it out. Get my old buffer out and my cleaner wax and give it a good detail. And I have green window tint for the windows. Not gray, not black, green. And it's gradiating green on top of it. It's going to look cool. Then I'll get pulled over for tint. I checked it, officer. It's legal. It's not limo tint. You know, Kathy, I had it was for interiors. It was a wide oval type. And it had a little brush underneath the bottom. And I'm vacuuming with that thing and vacuuming. Finally, I took it off and I just took the goddamn hose and there. When I went to empty the shop vac, it was 3/4 full, and it was dog hair. That's how much goddamn dog hair was in that back seat. It was disgusting. Yeah, as a matter of fact, if I remember tomorrow, I'll bring the roll of tint in. And I'll show you. It's kind of cool. I mean, you know, I handed to Jim for taking his dog with him. You know, dogs like to ride, and it was just him and his dog. But you would have thought maybe he would have thrown an old sheet or an old blanket over the back seat. No. But it's clean now. I must have spent 2 hours vacuuming the inside of that car. So over the weekend, I'll detail it some and armor all it. Make it look all spiffy. And hopefully when I get the fuel pump in it, it runs. I'm really anxious to see how it drives. Mainly to get the feel of the clutch. Because every clutch has a different feel. They grab different. You know, it was amazing between the RAV4 and the shitbox. The RAV4 clutch grabbed quicker. And if I wasn't paying attention, I'd leapfrog it, you know. So I had to remember, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what the feel of this clutch is and how it shifts. Because like between, you know, both the shitbox and the RAV4 have 5-speed transmissions. The transmission in the RAV4 was a close ratio. You really couldn't wind the gears out. On the truck, I can wind the gears out. So it'll be interesting to see what the facade is like. Because there's a Passat parked at the corner of the street, the side, one of the side streets, and it hasn't moved in a month. Now, the police put a ticket on it, and the next day the ticket disappeared. But the car still hasn't moved. As a matter of fact, the left front tire is flat. I don't know who owns it. I'd like to talk to the guy and say, hey, if you're not going to drive it, do you want to sell it? Although, be my luck, it's a frickin' automatic. Nah, sorry. Matter of fact, it's across the street from my buddy's house. I'm going to have to stop one day and ask him, you know who owns that silver Passat? It's a newer one. I got it. It's probably 05, 06. It's newer than mine. I don't know why it's just sitting unless it's got a problem, but you would think the guy would at least maybe put it in his driveway. But nope, it's just parked there. Been parked there forever. I forget, Kat, what year is your F-150? I know it's a fairly newer one. Because the guy down the street, he's a union electrician. And he takes his truck out on the job. 13, okay. And his gear shifter folds down out of the way. And then when he flips his console open, it's like a desk. It's kind of a neat. I never saw it. He puts it in park, and then he folds the shifter over, and then he flips the console open, and he has a desk. And he brings out his laptop, and he's got a mobile printer because he works out of his truck. I didn't know Ford had that feature. Hey, look who's here. Linda's here. I take it your F-150 doesn't have that fancy fold-down shifter, huh? Must be an option. I'll have to ask him what year his is. But it's kind of cool because he puts it in park, and then he just folds the shifter, and then he flips open the console, and it forms a desk. And then He just puts his laptop there and are you done yet? Oh, that backup alarm drives me crazy. Yeah, he told me what year his truck was. I can't remember. It's newer than yours. Oh, yeah, it's right outside my window. He backs the thing up right outside the window. Big flatbed. And I got the window open, so that's why it's so loud. Oh, yeah, Kathy, they're close. You know, if I fart, he hears it. That's how close we are. I mean, I can almost reach out the window and touch the fucking truck. That's how close these houses are in the neighborhoods. Like I always make the joke, you know, if I fart, he smells it, you know. That's how close we are. Cozy. I would say the bed is probably about 3 feet away from my house. Now, you know, a flatbed, they're pretty good size. Because when he backs it in, he's got just enough room on his side to kind of shimmy by it. And then it's about 3 feet away from my house, so that's why the backup alarm sounds like he's backing it in the window. But yeah, we're cozy here. It's not country. I always wanted to live, you know, out in the country where you have a little space between you and your neighbor. And, you know, Kathy, like down in Ohio City and in the Tremont area, the houses are even closer. I remember my grandparents' house. If I opened the back window the window on the side of the house, I could lean out and touch the house next door. Because the girl that lived next door, she was like a year older than me. And we pal around and that. And then at night, if we were bored, I'd open my window, she'd open hers, and we'd lean there and talk all night. Because that's how close we were. Now, there's a little more distance in these houses, but as a matter of fact, my grandparents' house and the one next door were so close. Her and I would pass chips and shit back and forth of getting one another and pop and because there couldn't have been 18 inches between them houses. And it was funny because her bedroom window and the bedroom window at my grandparents' house, they were right across from each other. Yeah, I could crawl over to her house or she could crawl over to mine. We never thought of that though. Wink, wink. But most of those houses were built like right after World War One, you know, and people didn't have cars, so you didn't need a driveway. They just built them. Like I say, there couldn't have been more than maybe 18 inches between them houses, and the whole street was like that. West 29th. No, it was Chatham. Chatham went from West 25th up to Fulton. Matter of fact, my grandparents' house is now a vacant lot. The tenant set it on fire. Grease fire. They were deep frying, I don't know, something, and the pot caught fire. Now, did they try to smother it? No. They threw water on it. And by the fire department, by the time the fire department got there, well involved. Burned the house right to the ground. Because I remember I went down about a week after the fire. It was before the city tore the house down. It was sad. I was like, oh, all the memories. And you know, I was thinking of buying it. I could have got it real cheap because at that time the houses weren't worth a lot. And I was going to rent it out. And then a friend of mine who had some rental houses went, oh, you don't know, you don't want to do that. Tenants will be calling you at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. I was like, oh, okay. And then the people that bought it, they were there about 2 years. And then they set it on fire. Yeah, it's always smart to pour water on a boiling pot of oil. That's what they did. The neighbor told me. Because the neighbor's house was all scorched. They thought their house was gonna. Luckily, the fire started on the left side, and it was just starting to because the fire department they soaked that right side down so it didn't spread. Because I said, well, what happened? Oh, they were deep frying, and the pot caught fire. I was like, yeah, I'll put the lid on it, smother it. Done. Easy. No. Go to the sink and fill a dishpan full of water and throw it. That wasn't the right thing to do. I was so depressed seeing that house all burnt. Oh, man. I had such good childhood memories. Especially Saturday when Grandpa and I stunk Grandma out of the kitchen. The two heathens eating Limburger cheese on butcher paper. Oh, 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 oh. Yep, every Saturday. You two heathens. Can't you use silverware? Can't you use plates? No, we got paper. We got fingers. She'd stand there with her apron fanning. Open every window, every door. You're stinking the house up. That was Grandma. Good memories, though. Fun memories. Grandma had the fastest apron in Ohio. Fanning the stink out of the kitchen. She'd stand there with her hands on her hips. Can't you guys eat any other kind of cheese? No. Why would we want to? It's more fun pissing you off every Saturday. Oh, 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 oh. Then Sunday when she'd go to church. Oh, 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 coffee. Make sure when you put that cup on the shelf, you turn that handle so that it touches the other handle. Heaven forbid a cup will be out of line. She'd be like, aha, you guys have been screwing around. Yeah, she'd come home from church, take off her coat or her shawl, whatever, go right to the dish cupboard. You guys are doing something when I leave. I know that. Who, us? No, not us. I was waiting for her to take out a ruler and measure. This cup is, it's 1/8 of an inch out of place. Not us. See the halo, Grandma? It's Sunday, halo. Even when I was a teenager, we never divulged the secret. Never told Grandma that at 8 years old I was drinking coffee. Actually, younger than that. God, let's see. About 7 years old. Because I couldn't go to the market until I was 7. I remember that. Although my grandfather, as soon as I was born, can I take him to the market? No, he's 24 hours old. Oh, how about next week? He couldn't wait to take me to the market to introduce me to everybody. And every Saturday. Although, you know, it was fun. Because they all played along. They made that trip so much fun every Saturday. Every vendor acted like it was the first time. I was 13, 14 years old. My grandfather, I got my grandson. Really? Come on over here. Pat me on the head. Yeah. I was here last Saturday. That's okay. Want some Smokies? Fuck yeah, here. Fill the bag. Okay, here you go. Every fucking Saturday. Oh, the same reaction every Saturday. Hey. Hi, Fred. Hi, Joe. How you doing? Oh, Fred, I got my grandson. Really? Susie, Bill, John, come on out here. Joe's got his grandson. They'd all be hanging over the counter. You look like a good little boy. Your grandfather says you're a good little boy. I'm 17 right now. That's okay. Grandpa said you're a good little boy. One day I'm going to do the whole story, Kathy. It was fucking hilarious up until the day he passed away. I think I was what? 21. Yeah, he was 21. I was 21 when he passed away. And it went on like that. I mean, we're talking like second or third generation in the family by now. I was taller than my grandfather by then. We'd be over at the Smoky stand and, hi Tom, hi Joe, how you doing? I got my grandson. Really? Oh God. It was unbelievable. And I tell that story today and people are like, oh, you're fucking with us. It went like that every single Saturday from age 7 to age 21. And I still got a bag full of Smokies. Every Saturday. Yeah, want some Smokies? Yeah. You want a side of beef? No, it's too heavy to carry. That's all right. We'll put it in the car, you know. Great memories. Oh, God. Of course, all the best memories were with my grandfather and my grandmother. She was a little bit of a disciplinarian, but him, I could have murdered somebody in front of him. I still have that halo on, you know. I could do no wrong. Of course, he knew the shit that I went through at home, so. But every Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, he was there. Picking me up. Because, you know, once I was 16, I had my license and I had my car. I had my little English Ford. And I tell him, Grandpa, I'll just drive down. No, I'll pick you up. Okay, I'll be ready. And the same thing every Saturday. A nice fresh onion. A nice fresh round rye, a stick of pepperoni, a big chunk of smoked whitefish, and a big chunk of fresh Limburger cheese. And we'd have our heathen feast. And it could be minus 20 outside. My grandmother'd have every fucking window open. You guys are stinking up the house. Yep, we are. Wonderful memories. Oh, God, wonderful memories. There isn't a day that goes by, Kathy, I don't think of him. Like when I was trying to get the damn radio out of the dash. Those fucking gizmos don't work for shit. Put them in the radio. I'm thinking, all right, how would Grandpa have gotten this radio out of there? Putty knife, there we go. Slipped the putty knife in on both sides of the radio, and out it came. I wasted $2.89 on them 4 fucking keys that didn't work. So much for anti-theft. 2 putty knives. One on either side of the radio, it slid right out of the dash. Yeah, I put them in the slots. I'm pulling on the radio and you ever... I was like, how would a grandpa have settled this one? Putty knives. Come in the house, got 2 putty knives, wedged them in, give the radio a little tug, and out it came. And good memories, right, Kathy? There was not one from birth up until he passed away. There was not one time that there was anything close to being a bad memory. He never raised his voice, never got angry, no matter how much I screwed up. He would just take me aside and go, no. Did you learn a lesson from this? Yes. Good. Remember that. Okay? God, I remember one time what the hell did I broke something of his. I broke one of his screwdrivers prying on something. I was like, oh, I'm waiting for it because I know what my father would have done. All he did was looked at it. Now, did you learn anything from this? Yeah. What did you learn? It's not something you use as a pry bar? Right. Remember that from now on. Don't worry about the screwdriver, I'll get a new one. That's the way he was. And same thing, my grandmother. She'd pull out the wooden spoon. Never use it. You want me to use this on you? No. Okay, remember, don't do that again. And then she'd put it away. My mother, she had busted the fucker over my head, grabbed the 2 broken pieces and smacked me with them. And the interesting thing, my father talked like they were the most horrendous people on earth growing up. Now, maybe they were. I don't see them changing like that. Although, he grew up during the Depression, so yeah, maybe they were a bit strict, but I can't see either one of them beating him or anything. Because I'll tell you what, when I broke that screwdriver, because my grandfather was a fanatic with his tools. He come in the garage and I was wondering, okay, do I hide it? I said, oh, look what I did. He just took the screwdriver and looked at it and went, did we learn from this? Yeah. What did we learn? It's not a pry bar. Right. Don't do it again. And that was it. Didn't even raise his voice. I'd have broken my father's screwdriver. He'd have stabbed me in the head with it. Ow! Ugh. But good times. And the amazing thing was, he knew every single person in that market by first name. Every stand, even the vegetables, fruit and vegetable stands out. He knew every one of them. Of course, they called him the mayor of the market because, he'd fix everything for them because the city was so bad about it. The free shit that I got, oh, God. Every Saturday. And we had to make the rounds. Every stand, every Saturday. By the time we got to the last stand, I was kind of, finally, yeah. But he had one of the crankers. Or did he slowly feed it back in? My grandfather used to have those ones that fold out. The old carpenter ones. It was a zigzag. And it would fold out to like 6 feet. It was neat. And then you'd fold it back up. And it'd be this little compact little zigzag. And I broke a couple of them because they were a little fragile. But it was amazing. It folded out, and then you fold it back up. Back in the day, that was before the pull-out. I think everybody's grandfather had a fold-up. And he always had it in his back pocket. Because he never knew when you'd have to measure something, We'd be down at the market and Joe, can you fix this cord? Yeah, wait a minute. Okay, it's 3.5 feet long. I still have one of them somewhere. I got it put away somewhere for fear that it's so old it would break real easy, but I had a lot of his tools, but that fold up I kind of cherished because I swear he took the damn thing to church with him, you know. He always had that fold up ruler in his back pocket. And one habit come on. I can't get it out of my pocket. Bandanas for handkerchiefs. He always had a bandana, and me too. I don't have any normal handkerchiefs. I got bandanas. I must have 40. He didn't believe in them prissy little handkerchiefs that men used to, you know, real man carries a bandana. And I continue the tradition. People look at me when I pull it out like, that's for your head. No. Oh, good memories. Good memories. Well, I think it's that time. One of these days I'll tell the market story from start to finish. Oh, God. I love telling that story, though. Come on, tablet. Come on. Come on. It don't want to auto-rotate. There, finally. We know where, right here. WDWL TV. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here and putting up with me. Although I needed a good laugh. So have a good, wonderful rest of your evening. Everybody take care. And we will meet again tomorrow night. See ya.